Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on something that affects pretty much everyone, getting a raise. We're going to look right past the usual stuff, the performance reviews, the lists of accomplishments, and dive deep into the hidden architecture that really decides whether you get paid what you're worth.
Let's just kick things off with the 5 words that have probably crushed more career ambitions than any others. The budget cycle is locked. I mean, if you've ever heard this, you know that sinking feeling. It sounds like a brush-off, right? But the truth is, it's a clue that points to a massive system that most of us are completely unaware of.
To really get why this happens, I want you to meet Daniel. Now, Daniel is a classic high performer. He's the guy who's always crushing it, always going the extra mile. And, he thought he was doing everything by the book to get a big, well-deserved raise.
I mean, this guy was prepared. He had the market data proving he was underpaid. He had a spreadsheet documenting every single project he'd knocked out of the park. He even practiced his pitch in the mirror. He walked into that meeting feeling like, okay, I got this. But his manager's response? It just completely sidestepped the whole conversation about his value. It wasn't a yes. It wasn't even a no. It was a technicality. It was a mention of some process Daniel had never heard of, and a deadline that had apparently flown by without him even knowing it.
And that right there brings us to the absolute core of the problem, something we're going to call the Q4 fallacy. This is the huge, mistaken belief that your year-end review is where the real decisions about your pay are made. The reality? It's all governed by a hidden system.
See, we all assume that asking for a raise is this logical, one-on-one chat. You lay out your case, they think about it, and you come to a decision. But from the company's perspective, your ask isn't a conversation, it's a disruption. It's an error message popping up in a pre-planned, carefully balanced financial system.
And this hidden architecture, this is the secret you have to understand. It's the whole behind-the-scenes corporate process where the money, the budgets, the bonus pools, all of it gets debated and locked down, usually months before you ever sit down for that performance review. So by the time you ask, the pie has already been sliced up.
Okay, but here's where it gets even trickier. Asking at the wrong time doesn't just get you a no. It actually sends a really powerful and sometimes damaging signal to your boss. In your manager's mind, before you bring any of this up, you're an asset. Simple as that. You're a known quantity, a reliable part of the team who gets stuff done.
But the moment you ask for that off-cycle raise, a little mental alarm starts going off in their head. And just like that, you can flip from being an asset to becoming a variable, an unknown that now has to be managed.
All of a sudden, they're asking a totally different set of questions. Are they unhappy? Are they a flight risk? Is this just them firing a warning shot before they start looking for another job? See, you've just introduced a whole bunch of uncertainty.
And this is precisely what happened to Daniel. He didn't get a talking to, nobody was mad at him, but that huge project he'd been promised, well, 5 weeks later, it just got quietly reassigned to a colleague. The system didn't respond with anger. It responded with a quiet, logical realignment to protect itself, basically betting that he might not stick around.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that your leverage isn't just about how amazing you are at your job. It is almost entirely about understanding the timing of the system you're in. Now, this slide, this is basically the cheat code. Look at Q1 and Q2. While you're busy working your tail off, those budgets are already locked in place. The real window, the moment of maximum leverage, opens up in Q3 and Q4. Why? Because that's when the leadership team is planning for next year. That is when you need to be having these conversations. Because if you wait until the money's already been allocated, you completely flip the power dynamic. The urgency shifts from the company, who should be worried about keeping you, onto you. Now they know you're not happy, and they can just sit back and see what you do about it. You've lost all your leverage. So you can see how all of this builds towards a completely different way of thinking about your career and how you get paid. The whole goal is to stop being a resource, that's someone who just reacts to the company's schedule, and start being a playmaker. A playmaker doesn't wait for their annual review. In Q3 or Q4, they're already having casual talks with their manager about their career path, their market value, and the kind of impact they're planning to make next year. They're planting seeds. They're making their expectations clear while the budget is still soft and can be shaped. That's how you get your raise built into the plan, instead of being treated like a problem for it. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? A perfectly prepared, data-backed argument delivered at the wrong time is basically useless.
Understanding the rules and the timing of the game is so much more important than just being good at your job.
So I'll leave you with this one single question. Forget your list of accomplishments for just a minute and ask yourself this. Do you actually know when your company plans, sizes, and locks its budget? Because finding out the answer to that question, well, that's the real first step to changing the entire trajectory of your career.